From growing up in small country churches and singing with her family, to sharing the stage with some of Canada's most notable entertainers, Rachel Maclean from the Annapolis Valley has quietly carved out a music career for the past 25 years. My name is Len Hawley, and since 1994, I've managed Rachel. I watched her grow as a songwriter, as a performer, and someone who gives back to her community. Over the next hour, you'll hear Rachel talk about growing up in small-town Nova Scotia, the importance of family, her connection to the church, and how all have influenced her songwriting even at a young age. She'll talk about recording 7 albums, numerous radio and television appearances, and the opportunity to write and perform with others that she's admired. Sit back now and enjoy Rachel 25.
Well, we spent a lot of years in communities like this, small coastal communities across Nova Scotia and even New Brunswick for a little while. And you were really tiny when we were in Margarettsville.
Yeah,
like really little.
I still have great memories though. We knew everyone. I think we knew I could name the whole line coming down. Which is great.
Well, it helped a lot because we always laugh about the fact that we had so much freedom.
Yeah.
We had so much freedom when you were maybe 2 when we moved, or even younger than that when we moved
younger.
here. Yeah, I think I was about 4 or 5 when we moved to Margarettsville. And, but we just had freedom like our kids never ever had. But as you say, we knew everybody and everybody was watching out for everyone. They often, the term, I think the phrase is, it takes a village?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's what we had. Everywhere we went.
Small communities are like that. Everyone knows each other. You're looking out for each other.
Yeah, they are. It was really nice.
It was great. I think we were really lucky to grow up in an area like this.
We absolutely were.
Obviously, the community church was a big part of our life. So, anything associated with that was, important to us.
We spent so much time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because in those days, even more maybe than even now, you spent so much time at the church because that was your other part of your life. The earliest recollection I have of actually singing in church was in church. I was 3, so she wouldn't have even been born yet.
No.
And then it was very gradual, very automatic, and we didn't think it was anything special because that's just what we did.
I think my earliest recollection, we were always in the choir, like the youth choir we would have, and I remember that was I kind of felt like maybe that's where we started, or at least being able to be people recognizing that we could sing. So then when they started asking Rachel and I to sing together.
Right.
And then you'd start being asked to perform, maybe at a wedding or a function. And I think functions started to come along. A big one for us was the Apple Blossom Festival.
Right.
That was huge. They called us the dynamic duo, which we loved. We still talk about that. But anyway, things like that really, started us on our career. And our place seemed to be like theaters, theaters. Yeah. That's where we felt the most comfort.
Yeah. And then that, obviously, because they were very reminiscent of, we felt so comfortable in churches growing up because it was home. That's why. And so then soft theater, for us was really the place we...
Yeah. Festivals were great. We did a lot of festivals. Yeah. Nova Scotia is just inundated with festivals. So we had lots of great times in all of those.
We did. It was fun.
Yeah, it was good.
There've been times when giving and loving brought pain, and I promised I would never let it happen again.
Well, our parents sang together since we can remember. Our dad was a tenor, our mom was kind of alto, they sang harmonies. So I think we definitely learned their style. Over the years, we've done a cover of a song that they did, and even the little lilts and things in the song, we totally copied their version of it.
Yeah, we stole it.
Which is kind of fun. But they were extremely encouraging. They wanted us to branch out. I know our dad was quite a stage dad, so he was. He went to the shows and had his opinions for sure. But they really encouraged us to like branch out and do that. And of course, I mean, when you're from the Maritimes, you're gonna love Maritime music. So I mean, that was the best, you know, they loved that part of it. So yeah, we definitely branched away from the church, but we always remained part of it as well.
Right.
But yeah, our parents were great encouragers. Yeah.
Never outlaw the Lord.
In terms of inspiration, you know, I mean, I just look around me, and that's when I wrote anything that I wrote that was very folky in nature, you know, very maritime, as they call it, that obviously it came from places like this. It
Yeah,
was
and
just
stories you heard,
stories
like
I
She
heard.
Waited by the Cove.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
You know, like-
yeah, like that was more of a family
Yes.
story.
Yeah.
And, you know, our aunt she was living in Ontario at the time, you know, they're all from here, but she was living there and had heard that my uncle, and they were very young at the time, had learned that my uncle possibly, his ship had gone down, wherever he was at the time. And anyway, I mean, it was just a horrible duration of the time until she found out that that wasn't the case, that he was actually very safe and you know. But those type of ideas, you know, I was always enthralled with the idea of, you know, the men going out to sea and the women waiting with the children, and maybe them not coming back, or some of them not coming back. That just, I think it really, I'm a very sensitive I mean, you know, we've always laughed about that, I'm a very sensitive person anyway, but that really cut me to the core when I would think about those things, and I would feel a lot of emotion with that, and that's never ended. So a lot of the songs that I wrote early on, that's kind of what they had in them, you know, the theme of them.
There was once a girl whose hair was golden as the sun. Her heart was like a flower on a calm and clear blue day. She did love the boy who waved at dusk to her. At dawn he went to sea. His life was with the sea.
I think everyone has something that is extremely meaningful to them, and for whatever reason. And I do think that we are, you know, as human beings, we're bound to this earth in a sense. Now I'm talking, you know, some people live up in the stars, you know, and love that world, and they're constantly researching it and everything. But for me, the water just, it has a draw. There's some kind of lure that it has for me. Just being here, I feel better when I'm by the ocean. I feel better. It actually, you know, a rough and rocky waves and crashing down on the rocks actually calms me. So it's like, it does the opposite. You know, as I'm watching that, it's calming me down. I mean calming me, meaning allowing me to have some peace in whatever situation I might find myself in life. And normal situations we find ourselves in, that we do need a little bit of peace. Peace of mind. That's always done it for me, and it's never changed. I've been, since a child, I was that way, and I still am like that now.
Love the boy who waved at dusk to her. At dawn.
You mentioned that we had been at the Apple Blossom Festival. So a good friend of ours had sent off, you know, what we had done. I think he had recorded it and sent it off. And CBC called us and said, hey, you know, would you like to come up and just record, CBC Radio, would you like to come up and record some songs, and we'll kind of see where you fit and who you are. And so we did that. And I think that doing that, I mean, Studio H was such an incredible place to be, and we knew that the people that we were working with, the producers and the technicians and everything, like, they had worked with the best in the country, and that was just it wasn't overwhelming. It was very touching, very moving experience. I think for us both, we just really enjoyed it. Yeah, we really enjoyed that experience because they took it and we sort of walked in and just did our thing. They didn't expect us to change. They didn't want us to be anything. They wanted us to be who we were. And I really valued that.
Now the television aspect, when
Yes.
we were able to do Up on the Roof, that was
fun.
different. That was a
Yeah.
new experience to
For
be
sure.
featured on TV when you're used to just being, like recording.
Audio.
But yeah, audio. It was definitely different, but we had so much fun.
We did.
Yeah, and I
we
mean
did.
different
Here, we
views.
were here.
We were here in
Yep.
Margarettsville. We were in Bridgetown at a beautiful property and
Middleton. And
yeah, it was wonderful. That was a great
Dennis-
opportunity to see that side of
And it was Dennis Ryan. Remember how nice he was? Yeah, Dennis Ryan interviewed us, and he was tremendous. So it was a really good experience. That was fun.
So I think once the songs were established, we tried our hand at recording. It was great.
Loved
I mean,
it.
we had a good experience. We had some
Yeah.
good leadership. I remember when we were deciding on the name, I don't know how it came about, but it was just perfect because it captured, the songs were about times in our life.
Yeah.
Rachel wrote several of them, and it captured that time. And I think for a first album, it was pretty solid.
And I think
it was great.
and I think we wanted to make sure that it was
Yeah.
an original album.
Yes.
You know, I think we felt that was really important. And yeah, I look back on the song. I mean, I think you always do. I don't think that that's anything
Oh,
new.
I
You
know.
look back on the songs and go, oh, I can't believe I wrote that.
But we were children.
But
we were young.
we were kids, and we were kids, and but again, we just love to experience different things, and I don't think there's anything. I think that that's a wonderful way to go about things.
Think of me.
Say, well, Rachel and I, we started singing at such a young age, so it was natural. It followed that path, that progression. But once I had my third child, it was getting increasingly difficult to travel. And I mean, we weren't doing a lot of international travel, which would have been not doable probably for me at that point. But we were doing enough. So when I had my third child, it was a tough decision, but I had to step back. There was never any bad feelings. It was just, at that point we were in our 30s.
Yeah.
So we had a pretty...
I missed you.
Yeah, we had a pretty good long run.
Yeah.
But I was certainly glad that Rachel continued on. And I mean, I've been her biggest supporter since then, watching all the great things she's done. So it was just...
Trying to make me cry or something? Because, everyone knows I don't cry easily. Adjusting to life as a solo singer, solo artist, it wasn't easy. I very much missed the sound that we had on stage. I very much missed the camaraderie. I even missed the little, earlier in their years, the little bit of, sisterly jabbing. Jousting, that's a better word. The sisterly jousting that we did. Some of our musicians could attest to that. It was hilarious. Now that I think back on it, we laugh about that all the time. But I missed all that when I was, first trying to just figure out how on earth I was going to make this work. But I also carried with me the fact that my sister means far more to me than even music, and that is saying a whole lot. She means so much to me, and she had her little boy, finally brought a little boy into the clan, and that was pretty special. And so I was thrilled about that. But deep inside, deep down, there was part of me that was really, really scared. I can't lie about that. I was really scared. I didn't know if I would be able to carry everything. I didn't know if I wanted to. I really didn't. But it's funny about sometimes when you're forced into a situation, not in a bad way, just forced, circumstances happen, and you get put in a situation that you actually have to dig your way out, climb your way out, and figure out another way. Sometimes you go in a direction that you just didn't even envision for yourself, and it ends up being just as good, if not better, just different, completely different. I can't compare it to singing with my sister because it's different. I might sing some of the same songs, but it's just a different dynamic on stage. And I had to learn to bring my, my public speaking had to come up, a different level. My singing had to come up to a different level. My playing the piano had to come up to a different level. Like, all of those things worked together. And I was willing to do it because I really, really loved doing it. I wasn't going to let it go.
Lullaby rocking our eyes to sleep. Lullaby rocking our souls to keep. Till then we'll wish for the sounds we once knew, when the rocks met the ocean and the funny winds blew.
There, I haven't done that in 13 years.
That was awesome. Good for you.
I was like, how does it go? I didn't remember.
That was awesome. You sound great.
Lullaby rocking our eyes to sleep. Lullaby rocking our souls to keep. Till then we'll wish for the sounds we once knew, when the rocks met the ocean and the funny winds blew. When thinking of then, we just cannot compare the cities and towns to the clean, windy air. We love to remember how things used to be, when the lives of two sisters were as free as the sea. The landscape, it had a most eerie appeal, and we thought we could make all the mysteries real, from pirates to treasures to ghost ships and more. Our minds used to fly as the ghosts they did soar. Lullaby rocking our eyes to sleep. Lullaby rocking our souls to keep. Till then we'll wish for the sounds we once knew, when the rocks met the ocean and the funny winds blew. Finding our way through the mazes and sand, caves and wet walls made our own little land. Driftwood and rocks, smooth and worn by the tide. Notes in glass bottles on adventurous ride. As if in a dream, we'd awake with a start, and we knew by the hour that we soon must depart, running fast hand in hand up the steep rocky trail, overlooking the ocean where the birds and ships sail. Lullaby rocking our eyes to sleep. when the rocks met the ocean and the funny winds blew.
When I walked into the church in Clare, I mean, it's magnificent to look at it outside, on the outside, but when I walked into that, I mean, I love the little churches that I grew up in. I love them. They're charming and beautiful, and I love the atmosphere in them. It's very, very special. But when I had never been in a church like that before, a cathedral. That is a cathedral. Now, it may not be as large as the ones in Rome or whatever, but it definitely is the largest one I've ever been in. And the backstory of it, the history of it, it touched me very deeply. And I walked in, and the acoustics are unbelievable. I can remember coming in through the front doors, and we were bringing gear in, and everything was coming in. And I walked down the main aisle to the front, and I was just so blown away by the beauty and the respect that I instantly had for being in that space. You were instantly very respectful and very, I don't know, it's just something that comes over you. But when I just deliberately sang out a little bit and went la la la, and it took in the entire building. It was beautiful. This one is one that when the girls were really little, from the time they were born till a few years ago, I would sing it every single night of their lives and to put them to sleep. And although they claim to not be able to, they claim that they don't know the words, they know these songs so well. Baba mulenu bek, Baba mulenu bek, Baba
nakazu Januai animirut Jehu animigut Januai animirut Isakolaron nakazu.
When I was growing up, living in all those coastal communities, we would come here to Bear River every summer, and lots in between. But summer times were really, really special. I mean, it too is a magical place for completely different reasons than the ocean. You know, it is hot. It seems to be hotter here. It was always hotter here. We would come down for Cherry Carnival, and we would be maybe part of the parade, or we would watch the parade, and then we would head over for the big box of cherries and have cherry pit contests, spitting contests and stuff. Sometimes in the van, or you know, when all the kids were together, which Mom and Dad really loved. And we would walk, you know, you can walk around the tide. There were places called swimming holes. You know, you read about that stuff in these old fashioned books where they went swimming in the swimming hole. Well, that's what we did, and it was really cool. And my grandparents actually at the time lived in the house next door to this one. But this one is where my mom would have spent most of her childhood. It was called a boarding house or the hotel, and they had lots of wonderful people in, and they would serve beautiful meals, and my grandmother took care of everything, and grandfather, you know, kept up on the upkeep. It was a really beautiful place, and it's nice to see that they're trying to bring some beauty back to the home. We lost my grandfather in 1982, and it's hard to imagine that in 9 short years that someone could have that. Someone could have that impact on you. And I get very emotional when I'm here. I think it's because I loved it here so much. And when you have that kind of love that just comes at you from all those directions, you know, your grandparents, you can't help but remember that. And he was just such a huge impact. He had such a huge impact on me as a human being, and it's never stopped. I think of him, I see his face in my mind when I go to sleep. I talk to him, and I think of him. And my grandmother was wonderful. She was she taught more the etiquette, social etiquette. She was very funny, very dry wit, and she was very funny. And she was very warm too. She loved us dearly. But you know, there's just something special with my grandfather. I had that and I think all of my siblings and I did. He was meant so much to us. Coming home, that song that I wrote is just what it says. Coming home. I feel very connected to the places that I've lived in this province, and I feel connected to the people that have lived there. They became family to us when we lived in those spots, and that feels like home to me. Wherever the people are that I love is home. You know, I sing about it's in the air I breathe, the friends I know, and when I'm home, I'll be the girl I used to be. You know, and there's something very, very special about going back in your mind and thinking about those days, the good old days, as they say.
I'm coming home. It's in the air I breathe, the friends I know, And when I'm home, I'll be the girl I used to be and hold her close. I heard you calling, but like so much in my life, I just let it go. I know it's been a long, long time, and if I close my eyes and think of you, I'm home again. And oh, I've missed you. And oh, the feeling's strong, 'cause your memory owns a part of me I thought was so long gone. I'm coming home. The years have come and gone like waves upon the shore. They whisper to me and laugh at my mistakes. I'm praying it won't take too long before I'm there. I'm coming home. And oh, I've missed you. And oh, the feeling's strong, 'cause your memory owns a part of me I thought was so long gone. I'm coming home. I'm coming home.
Rachel has my respect as a songwriter, and one of the things that I really appreciate about her songs is that they all possess a sense of place. And as it turns out, we're both from the Valley, and the Valley of Nova Scotia is, you know, it's its own ecosystem. You know, it's its own place. And so, in the same way that Cape Breton writers draw a lot from their environment, you know, Cape Breton being a very strong environment, I would say that the Valley has its own identity as well, and that's something that I think really shines through in Rachel's writing and makes it unique, because there just aren't that many Valley writers, so to speak, and I think that she's the top.
So all through my later part of my childhood that I can remember, my dad's brother, his older brother, Neil, he was just such a passionate believer in bringing back the Gaelic language and the culture, and so he was a history teacher, so I'm sure maybe that played a role in his love of, you know, learning about the past, and he always shared that with us. In fact, I think when my sister and I went and recorded with a group of women, and it was in Cape Breton, Lucy McNeil was there from the Barry McNeils, and a lot of wonderful women. And we sang a few of these Gaelic pieces. I think there was like a milling frolic song. I think it was something like Falilio ege soruela, falilio ege soruela,
Sorowela, Falilio Agus Sorowela, Alaski Kain Nachadoine Yerik.
So nobody can get mad at me for that pronunciation. It was a long time ago. But he would actually coach us a little bit on some of the pronunciations. It's all regional, so depending on really where you're from, those can vary a little bit. But he was wonderful. We were very close, and we had that in common, that we loved the culture so much and loved to talk about it, and he loved to tell me, and I was very interested. So of course, and he didn't have any children. He was married and didn't have any kids, and so he just felt that was kind of neat that I was really interested in that as well. So I think when you have someone in your family that encourages you that way, you can't help but have that be a very special part of your life.
So one of the things that we really look forward to putting together every year is Christmas with Friends. And it started in 2010, and to be honest with you, it started as a one-off. We had Bruce Guthrow, Ardith and Jennifer, and the Annapolis Valley Honor Choir. We had a great turnout. It was well received. And in the months after, we were being questioned about what are you going to do next year, and we'd never given it a thought. So to make a long story short, we did 10 performances over the years, and Rachel had an opportunity to share the stage with a lot of people that she grew up listening to. Alan Frew from Glass Tiger was a treat. Michelle Wright, the Rankins, Heather and Jimmy have been here, and the list goes on and on and on. So for her, and me too, I mean, it's the one thing, I guess you could say, of all the things that Rachel has done over the last, say, 10 years, it's her crown. She really looks forward to coming to University Hall at Acadia and hosting it and welcoming performances and welcoming performers. And it's a lot of fun.
The minute I stepped on this particular stage, there was just something very, very special, very magical. So many wonderful people have crossed the stage and have performed here or have walked across the stage accepting their graduation certificates, and there's just something about that. It's just steeped in history here. My own grandparents came here a long time ago, and a lot of my family. And so it is very special. The people I've had on this stage and have shared time with, they love it. And we go out looking for people, a year in advance usually, and that's what we're looking for. We look for people who are passionate and love what they do and are generous with their stage, on stage generous, because we're all here just to have fun, and we're here to make sure that those people have fun. Those people who have spent their hard-earned money to show up at a concert, and their time and their energy to come see us. They deserve to have people on stage who are passionate and love what they do. So.
I've been out walking, been all over town. Voices are singing and snow falls around. But nothing comes easy, I know this is true. The season came early and it came without you. So now I hope and I pray for the light to show me the way. The message is clear, I just want you here for Christmas. Singing carols all night long, just to keep me hanging on. Won't you come home for Christmas? The trees in the corner, all silver and white, I take in the beauty by warm candlelight. I stood by the window, I reach out to hold you, it's just not the same. So now I hope and I pray for the light to show me the way. The message is clear, I just want you here for Christmas, singing carols all night long, just to keep me hanging on. Won't you come home for Christmas? The snow falling down makes me happy, though I've never known a Christmas so blue. This feeling inside as I wish for my dream to come true. So now I hope and I pray for the light to show me the way. The message is clear, I just want you here for Christmas, singing carols all night long, just to keep me hanging on. Won't you come home for Christmas? Hope and I pray, won't you show me the way? Won't you come home for Christmas? Hope and I pray, won't you show me the way? Won't you come home for Christmas?
You know, having Mary on those other CDs and then finally going into my own thing, you know, I'm the person backing myself up on those albums, on those recordings. Jamie sometimes will jump in. I've had Dave Gunning on it, you know, and that's kind of fun. But as my girls got older, I just thought, wouldn't that be neat? I had always kind of imagined what that would be like to have my children at whatever age on a CD with me, recording that forever, that's there. And so finally with that Christmas CD, they actually were both on the CD. And I did write one, we did a group song, so that had, you know, both my children on it, but then we did a song I had written and had performed at Christmas with friends. And it was really about my daughters and about family at Christmas time. It's Christmas time, I think it's called. And once I was able to sing it without crying, which everyone knows is a bit of an issue for me sometimes. I have to sing those songs until the emotion is sort of taken a little bit out of it, but yet I still have enough to be able to sing it and have people believe it, you know. But it was very special to me because I just, even in the recording studio, I had to put my head down and just listen. I can't speak for other people who have children who sing, and they themselves are singers. I can't speak for other people. I can speak for myself to tell you that is the most mind-blowing, amazing thing you could ever possibly hope to have in your life, is to listen to your little girls sing.
Jesus, no cry. sky. Stay by my cradle till morning is mine. Be near me, Lord Jesus, I ask thee to stay close by me forever and love me, I pray. Bless all the dear children in thy tender care, and take us to heaven to live with thee there. And take us to heaven to live with thee there.
I wrote the song quite a few years ago now for my friend. She had gone through cancer and it went into remission, and she ended up years after that. She ended up getting it back, and it was really sad. She was such a dear, dear soul, and very special to my husband and me and to our two girls, and her husband was as well. And we just, I don't know, just one night I was thinking, she was nearing the end, and we had gone to see her, and I came home and just sat down. That's how I work things out. A lot of times I sit down and try to write something, and I knew she wouldn't like anything slow and blah. she would want it a little bit more up tempo. So I'll try. I'm not used to playing it on the guitar, but let's see if I can do it. I'll play a little bit of it anyway. Fly away, oh my friend, you are free from shadows that cloud your days. Fly away. Well, there are people in this world who are willing to take the road least traveled and in their own time. They're just trusting God above and keep on walking with a tender voice and heart full of love. Fly away, oh my friend, you are free from shadows that cloud your days. Fly away. Many times I sat alone in the silence, a prayer of faith, a question what to say and do. But our friendship is a never-ending story. Though your time has come, my love will go with you. Fly away, oh my friend, you are free from shadows that cloud your days. Fly away.
Well, Rachel has definitely evolved as a singer, as a songwriter, as a performer. It's been 13 years since you've pretty much been on your own. So it's been great to see. You've really branched out. I think as a singer, age and practice and experience obviously is going to make you better. I think she sounds better than she ever has. So I'm always super impressed. The new recordings, I love those. It's been great to see. Like, you definitely didn't stay in the same spot, and I think that's That's pretty cool. Like you grew and yeah, I hope you keep growing.
I will keep growing.
I think Rachel has been consistent. I mean, that's my own interpretation. So having worked on 5 different records over 20 years, which again, you know, I'm one of those people that just can't believe how fast time flies. So when I think back about 5 records, it also represents 2 decades of our lives and how much personally we grow and we change. But what doesn't change is an enthusiasm for not only making music, but making really good music and a drive to do better. You know, there's no kind of resting on your laurels or anything like that. It's like, okay, let's make a really good recording and let's you know, be as meticulous and as you know, drawing out as much of ourselves as we possibly can as we were in day one, because you know it is easy in a business as fickle as music to lose sight of why we do things. And I think it's a sign of a true artist when you don't succumb to that, to those pressures, and you maintain high art, or as high art as we can muster.
It really is hard to believe that it's been 25 years, you know, since I first introduced Rachel and her sister on a stage in Middleton, and to watch Rachel grow. You know, there's really, the end is nowhere in sight. You know, as a female singer, she's actually right in her prime. And you know what? I don't think she's going to race to the studio to record a Christmas album anytime soon, but she's got some different ideas. And she certainly wants to do some more songwriting and dabble in some things that maybe she hasn't dabbled in before. She's even talked about sort of like a jazzy feel sort of album. She's got all kinds of ideas. And when she finally decides to get focused and sit down and do the writing, I can't wait to see what she's going to bring to the table next and share with people.
I have so much left to do. I you know, 25 years is nothing, right? It's just a drop in the bucket. And it seemed like somebody my age, when I was 21, and met my best friend and husband-to-be, didn't know it at that point, but, you know, that somebody my age was very old and kind of out of date. And I don't feel that way anymore, strangely. So we've had a lot of wonderful years together, and we're going to have lots more. I mean, he's my best friend, as I said, and my partner in this life, and he's the person I cry with, laugh with, get angry at the world with, whatever. We debate all the time, and he truly is my partner in all of this, because he does everything for me, with me, and other than singing, he refuses to do that. But I've tried so hard. But we've agreed that there's no end inside. I suppose when I finally can't sing and I'm singing like this and there's nothing coming out, maybe, but no, I have lots left to do. I would love to have lots more fun with it. And whether that's diving into maybe a slightly different sound, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm allowed to do whatever I want. That's the cool thing about being an adult. You reach this age, you can do whatever you want, and it really doesn't matter. As long as you don't care what anybody else thinks, you can do whatever you want.
I've come to love the mountains with this valley here between. In the air I smell the sweet perfume, bright flowers in the green. To stand upon a grassy bank, you can see it run for days. It